One of the biggest challenges that I've had on this life journey that we're all on is learning through relationships. So relationship seems to be the cutting ground of where we really cut our teeth on things. So one of the key things that I'd like to share with you is something called the distancer and the merger. It's come from modern psychology actually, and we can look at it from the idea of there's two opposites, these two opposite poles. So everything in life I've discovered in my own explorations since my early life wake-up call is that everything's got polarity. So we can call that polarity male, female, yin, yang, whatever we want to call it, but it's basically two opposite ends of a battery, plus, minus. So in relationships, this pattern that I've seen happen over and over and over again, which I see it in myself and I see it in everyone else, is called the distancer and the merger. So the distancer tends to have a more yin or a feminine, if you like, feminine approach to the way they engage in relationships and the way they interact. And the opposite one, which is the merger, tends to be more of the male side. So what does that actually mean? So in relationships, it's very common to see that once the relationship gets going, and I'm talking about close, intimate relationships, love relationships, close, where we go past the honeymoon stage, which is always the beautiful, wonderful stage, and thank God we have that, otherwise we probably wouldn't bother. But once we get past that stage where the chemistry is really together and we can see parts of ourselves in that person, we link with them, they get us, we get them, and it's all very sweet. That's why they call it the honeymoon. It's that the first 28 days or the first moon cycle where the chemistry and the endorphins, we're on a high. We're literally buzzing along, feeling just like, oh, I've met my soulmate or I've met my partner, and that's lovely. It's a really beautiful time. But that does chemically fade. And what happens after that time is we then begin to show more of our vulnerabilities, more of our real self, more of the parts of us that we kind of don't tend to show initially because it's not that pretty. So that's when this distancer and merger kicks in. So what happens is the distancer has usually come from a family background where things were a bit intense, so as a child. So there might have been a lot of dynamic going on in the household, there might have been a lot of emotional interactions that were quite obvious, or maybe there wasn't a whole lot said, but the feelings were there, they were very strong things happening. And so as a child, that distancer person learnt, when it gets too much, I'm going to just pull away a bit. So I'm going to become more yin. I'm going to step back. I'm going to withdraw, go inside myself more. And that makes a safe space for me. So when the going gets tough, I step away. And so later on in life, once that person engages in intimate relationships, which they inevitably will do, and they'll tend to attract something that's going to be a little bit emotionally intense at some stage, and the old pattern will go, oh, I've got to step away, I've got to withdraw a little bit, I've got to find my cave or my safe space. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's what men do because women get too intense, but it can be the other way. It can be absolutely the other way. So it's not about, oh, if you're male or female, you'll be like this. It doesn't work like that. And even in gay relationships, that same dynamic will still play out. So it's not to do with our sexuality as such. So, like I was saying, the distancer learns in order to feel safe and to feel okay, they step back and they withdraw. So on the other side, we've got the merger. And the merger is the one who's going to say, I need to move towards my partner when I don't feel love or safe or secure. So I'm going to literally try and merge with them. So that has a more male kind of, or yang, if you want to say it in Chinese medicine terms. So they move towards, they pursue, they chase, where the distancer moves back and avoids and withdraws. And so what literally happens as time goes by is that the distancer can say, well, this relationship's a bit intense, so I just need to have my own space. I'm going to withdraw and I'm going to be in my own area in order to feel safe. And the merge is going to read that the other way. They're going to go, oh my God, they're withdrawing away from me. I better go closer to them to get my reassurance, because in the merger's early life experience, quite often what was happening was the family pattern, the energy pattern, was very much the opposite to the distancer. In other words, there was a lot not being said. There was a lot of emotional withdrawal. There was a lot of absence of parents. There might have even been a bit of neglect and stuff going on. So the merger learnt pretty quickly, unless I speak up, unless I move towards, unless I make my needs known, I'm not going to get my needs met. I'm going to get ignored here. So later on in their life, as a young adult and older, they learnt that I've got to move towards my partner so that I feel safe, I feel loved, I feel secure. I need that constant acknowledgement. So, isn't it interesting? So on one hand, you've got the merger moving towards the distancer, and you've got the distancer moving away from the merger. And after a period of time, if you don't understand that pattern, you can end up thinking, I think I'm with the wrong person. They move away, they're not giving me the love and security. This is the merger talking. Where the distancer goes, well, it was really great at the beginning, but now they're a bit intense. They're a bit too full on. They don't give me the space I need, and I need to just be on my own. So what does each of them need to know? The distancer needs to know that it's okay to take the space that they need. That's just their innate pattern. So they're more likely to go into overwhelm. And it's okay to say to their partner, I'm not leaving you, I'm not avoiding you, I just need my own space. I just need time to me to regroup and find myself again. And once the merger understands that, they go, oh cool, I'll let you have your space and we'll catch up later. And what the merger needs to understand is that they're actually being a little bit too pushy or demanding. And what they need to do is flip over and be a little more like the distancer. They need to just step back, do their own thing for a while, know that their partner needs time to regroup, and it's okay. It's not that they're being abandoned or ignored or neglected. And then once that happens, once the merger backs off a little bit and the distance has filled their own cup, they'll be happy to come back together again and realise, oh, we're playing this dynamic, and it's part of finding ourselves, which is the ultimate reason we're in relationships. So just thought that might help you understand it if you're having a little bit of conflict with your partner.